Senator Muir.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. I rise to speak about the economic, social and other benefits of motorsport in Australia. And this may not start where a few people think it may have started, but bear with me, I'll get back to why I start this way. Firstly, it is with great regret that large-scale new vehicle manufacturing in Australia is going to cease by the end of 2017. Of course, this is not new news, but like any good relationship gone bad, it is news that doesn't get better with time. Between my home state of Victoria and our neighbour to the west, being South Australia, it is forecasted that between new vehicle manufacturing, original equipment manufacturers, downstream part suppliers and the subsequent flow-on effects, we'll see upward of 150,000 to 200,000 jobs lost. This is at a time where unemployment is already at an uncomfortable high, and I don't think we need to be contributing to that. The way I see it is we can either sit on our hands and do nothing, like what appears to have been allowed to happen with our automotive. The way I can see it is we can either sit on our hands and do nothing, like what appears to have been allowed to happen with our automotive manufacturing, or turn our focus to what we do well and allow new and existing businesses and opportunities to flourish. It is hard to argue that subsidising an auto sector, like every other country which manufacturing cars does, at a time of need wouldn't represent value for money. But here we are, or here we were, not long before I took my seat in this place, essentially goading the auto sector into leaving our shores. It was a very disappointing point in our history, and one which in my eyes almost stands out as economic vandalism. Subsidising the sector, keeping a potential 150 to 200,000 people in the southern states in a job makes sense. Allowing the industry to leave, potentially putting those people on welfare, makes no sense at all. If we are not a country of manufacturers, we are a country of importers, and this leaves us at the mercy of others in a very uncertain world. Some say now that new vehicle manufacturing is leaving our shores, that the auto sector is dead, but this is far from the truth. As much as I would like to see a rise of the phoenix in our vehicle manufacturing, an important fact that many people are not aware of is that automotive manufacturing, or new vehicle manufacturing, is 1/5 of our auto sector. There is still the other 80% we need to focus on, and there are opportunities for it to grow, expand and even start new directions. So how does this statement tie in with the economic and social benefits of motorsport? I'll start perhaps with a report written by Ernst & Young, commissioned by the Confederation of Australian Motorsport, which is CAMS, in 2013. The report, as written in its opening, highlights the importance of the motorsport industry to Australia by estimating the economic contribution, value add and employment of the industry in 2013. This study also estimates other key measures, such as the number of participants, clubs and venues across Australia. At this point, it's important to mention that this report only covers four-wheel motorsport and does not cover the economic benefits of two-wheel motorsport. This aside, the report did identify that four-wheel motorsport contributes $2.7 billion in direct industry output, $1.2 billion in direct value added, and creates 16,300 full-time jobs. This is an astounding economic contribution and, as previously mentioned, does not include two-wheel motorsport. The report also noted that there are 17,419 licensed volunteer officials in Australia, which are responsible for running the majority of motorsport events held each year. It noted, the CAMS report, or Ernst & Young report, noted that motorsport is the fourth most watched sport in Australia, and 80% of people surveyed said being with family and friends is an important reason why they are involved. We all need a sense of belonging, and the family culture around motorsport, one of which I'm very familiar with, alongside hundreds of thousands of other Australians, is an important sense of belonging. The Ernst & Young report also identified that 30% of motorsport participants live in regional areas and that 85% of motorsport venues are available to those in regional areas. When attending a round of the V8 supercars in Winton, Victoria earlier this year, I was glad to hear that this one event brought $17 million to the local economy in just that one weekend. It was a 4-day weekend, but $17 million to a rural community. And I believe that out of that out of Winton running that event each year, it creates around about 400 jobs in the local community. There is no arguing that that is a huge benefit to the regional area and other regional areas, and one that should be looked after and maintained well into the future. I've been informed that the Mildura drag strip contributes $60 million to their local economy every year. This is money and employment created just by people getting away from their TV and enjoying their lifestyle. Motorcycling Australia hosts a number of national and international events each year that contribute significantly to the national, state and local economies as well. Events such as the MotoGP, World Superbikes at Phillip Island each year, World Trials Championships and World Speedway Grand Prix events contribute tens of millions of dollars to the economy. Events like the Motocross National Championships, Australian Speedway and Supercross Championships and Australian Superbike Championships also contributes millions more. In 2014, Motorcycling Australia, through its state-controlled bodies and affiliated clubs, issued licences for more than 66,500 people to participate in organised motorcycling events or activities. This included participation in competitive and non-competitive events as riders, officials and coaches. Over 5,500 permits were issued for Motorcycling Australia affiliated clubs across Australia, of which more than 300 to conduct motorcycling events, which worked out to an average of 105 events being run per week. Naturally, hand in hand with motorsports comes the aftermarket industry. The aftermarket industry is heavily supported by motorsport and is a $13 billion industry. In 2013 it was around about $11 billion, so it's actually growing without government support, without government financial support. So the aftermarket industry is heavily supported by motorsport and is a $13 billion industry, which is currently highly successful without that need for the subsidies. It is also an industry which employs around 30,000 people. Of that $13 billion generated by this industry, $5 billion is manufactured, or $5 million worth of that manufacturing is manufactured locally here in Australia. A decent proportion of this $5 billion generated is from specialty equipment specifically designed for motorsport. An example of these manufacturers would be Albans from Delacombe in my home state of Victoria. Albans manufacture transmissions and gears for a range of motorsport applications, and as times change, they have also diversified into the defence industry, supplying products for the Bush Ranger armoured vehicles. They also supply transaxles for the V8 supercars and export internationally. PWR Performance Products manufacture cooling systems for the Red Bull Formula One team and have a huge variety of bolting aftermarket accessories for a variety of standard applications right through to many different disciplines of motorsport. Not to forget successful Australian businesses such as Supershock, who my colleague Senator Xenophon has become passionate in advocating for, X-Force Exhaust, TurboSmart and ARB. ARB are an Australian specialist in aftermarket four-wheel drive accessories, an ASX-listed company with operations in Melbourne, the US and Thailand, and export to over 100 countries. There are many more. Oh, actually, on that note, that's only a very, very small proportion of our small business that manufacture aftermarket products in Australia. There are thousands more. There are many different disciplines of motorsport. Many people seem to think that motorsport consists of the V8 supercars, Formula One, MotoGP. However, this is far from the truth. These are highly successful, high-profile events that generate a lot of money in a very short time, but there are many more. Motocross, hill climbs, 8th mile and quarter-mile drag racing, rally, speedway, go-karting and more. Right down to even lawnmower racing on modified ride-on lawnmowers. They don't have the cutting deck anymore. One area I'm extremely supportive of is grassroots motorsport. Like all sports, you don't begin at an elite level. So none of us are lucky enough to walk straight into the V8 supercars and have a career. We have to start somewhere. And that's generally starting at a local club level. Grassroots Motorsport is typically your entry-level motorsport, the type of sport you can enter at minimum cost. They give those who may have an interest in competing at a safe and legal, competing in a safe and legal environment, a place to compete and a facility to encourage people to go to keep antisocial behaviour off our streets. We give those who want to play cricket a field, those who want to play football an oval, create parks for those who want to skate. Yet during 2014 to 2015, CAMS received only $339,800 of federal assistance, in comparison to sailing, which received a $1.25 million boost to their allocation, which put their funding up to $8,096,400. In Gippsland, I've been working in close contact with a local club at Bensdale who are currently in the process of creating a multiplex. This facility is being built on the site of a previous drag strip, which was unfortunately demolished a few years back. Currently, in its rebuild stage, the Bensdale Multiplex has run some very successful show and shines, large burnout competitions, while it's awaiting the necessary funds to finalise the track to get it back to being able to host drag racing events. The club is also hosting multi-events on once every month, which includes Supermoto, a near complete four-wheel drive track, which will create an opportunity for people to race in a safe and legal environment off-road in a four-wheel drive at a track, and an affordable place for people to go to spin their wheels in a competition style if they so desire. Although not everybody's cup of tea, people do like to do it. We know they like to do it, so we should be supplying them a facility. This has strong support from the local police, as they see the value of having the venue to point people in the right direction. And I have spoken directly with the local police, and that's not just something I read off a bit of paper, that's an actual statement. The local police are very supportive of being able to have this venue to encourage people to go to the right place. I'll use perhaps football as an example here. If we did not provide people with a football oval to play their sport, you can bet, without a doubt, there will be plenty of people playing football on the streets. So, we've seen many reports in the media about hoons doing things in the wrong place. From the onset, I'll say straight up, I do not support antisocial behaviour, and I do not support that at all. If somebody's doing the wrong thing, they absolutely deserve to have the book thrown at them. But we should be at least encouraging people to go to the right place and seeing the economic benefits of doing so, and of course the social benefits of keeping it off the street and creating our roads, making our roads a safer place. If we want to encourage people to keep it off the streets, I think the social benefits of having a track to go to makes a great deal of sense. It also will probably come as no surprise that many people are calling for access to tracks to compete at a grassroots level. It is often said that get your kids into cars and they won't have the time or money for drugs. These grassroots motorsport clubs provide a sense of community, extended family and belonging. Motorsport clubs provide members with personal support networks. These are all key ingredients to providing a positive mental health outcome. A club that I am a part of is the Maffra District Car Club, and they hold a junior development program. So by having the motorsport facility, it is also used as a driver education, while the junior development program gives youth an opportunity to learn how to brake in a car, learn how to take off in a car, learn how to position themselves in a car, rather than passing a test at 16 years of age, then going on to your learners and hitting the road for the very first time, never even taking your foot off the clutch. There is an opportunity to teach people how to drive, and many other motorsport venues do the same thing. There's so many volunteers who get involved and also like to participate in a better outcome for young drivers. Something that's not so much motorsport related, but it is tied in, is clubs or motorsport clubs generally have a tendency to get heavily involved in charities. Charity rides to raise money for cancer events or missing children events. One I've heard of recently was by somebody in the Victorian Tirana Club, mentioned how the Melbourne Old School Cruisers Club got together about 600 cars all together to raise money for a missing child. I think that's an important social factor which is regularly missed out on. I'm aware that I'm running out of time, so I might have to cut some of the speech out. Actually, I'll continue. In Queensland recently, I've never really gone the whole 20 minutes, so in Queensland recently, motorsport and enthusiast clubs from all variety of backgrounds came together in support of charity needs. Braveheart's Highway Thunder is a convoy of road cars, four-wheel drives, bikes, trucks, and that all meet up at a show and shine to raise money for programs to educate, empower and protect Australian children against sexual abuse. Four-wheel Drive Queensland, for the last 15 years, has run the annual Fraser Island clean-up. In mentioning this event, I would also like to single out Jeff and Nola Chase, who I have been told have been driving the force behind this event. It was their idea to utilise the resources of Four-wheel Drive Queensland in the beginning, and I have it on good authority that Jeff and Nola were both recognised for their volunteer commitment to the event and Fraser Island when they were presented an award by the Queensland Park and Wildlife Service in 2012. I suppose I should go and mention how I tied this in, or why I started with the death, or perceived death, of our automotive industry. I've mentioned the aftermarket industry and the passionate people in the car clubs and so on. With the correct policy settings, we can use this aftermarket industry, who already is very self-sufficient, but we can create an industry that can grow and soak up some of the jobs that are going to be lost when automotive manufacturing does leave by 2017. We can encourage motorsport and the industries that are supported by it. We're good at it, so we should be doing everything we can, no matter how big or how small, to allow industries to soak up the excess jobs that are going to be lost. During a recent Motor Trades Association of Australia, during the recent Motor Trades Association of Australia, Australian Automotive Industry Summit, comments were made that there is not enough spoken about motorsport in Australia at a federal level. Although I've got 2 minutes 30 left, I have cut part of my speech out, so I at least hope that this motion started a new direction in conversation and covered it.